Hold on. Hellraiser Inferno. Uh, yeah. Okay. So I just got done with a Wham stream. But they're still going right now. But I had to get on here and talk about this. Well. So they did a stream where it was Child's Play versus Hellraiser. Which one's better? And I know there's two more Hellraiser movies than there is Child's Play, so they cut out Revelations and Hell World, which they are the two lowest ranked, I guess. I don't get why. But they were going on and on about these, which was which. And so when they announced what was going to be early on today, I'm like, Chucky's going to clean sweep, no doubt. All the Chucky movies are better than any of the Hellraiser movies. I'll give you the first four Hellraiser movies are decent films and could battle the Chucky films, which they did, but they didn't do very well. And I actually like Hellraiser Hellworld, but I'm like, hey, it's going to be a clean sweep. But somehow, one Hellraiser film rose above the others. Can you take a guess at which goddamn movie it is? That's right. Hellraiser Inferno beat out Seed Chucky. Now, this, for some reason, it really pisses me off, and I think I know why. I hate Hellraiser Inferno with a fiery passion. The first time I watched it, it gave me a fucking headache. It took me, this last time I reviewed it, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to understand what was going on. Because it took me till this try to actually figure out what the fucking plot was. And what was going on in that film. And I still don't know if I understand it all the way. But they were going on and on about how well it was made and how they liked the twist. And so they're going, that movie doesn't make any sense. It took me three tries to actually figure out what was going on. Because I watched it through streaming the first time. Then when I got all the reviews, I marathoned them all. Binge watched. And then this time doing the reviews. So, it just, it burned me that Hellraiser Inferno won. Now, it was going up against Seed of Chucky, but here's the difference. For me, I can sit through Seed of Chucky and enjoy it just fine. I know it's shit, but I can enjoy that shit. Hellraiser Inferno is so fucking confusing that I can't enjoy it. There's no likable characters. I like Chucky. I grew up with Chucky. I like Chucky. Whether he's a villain, a hero, whatever. I like Chucky. I can stand Chucky. Detective Thorne? Fuck him. Alright? I cannot stand that guy. And to have a movie with a protagonist you can't stand, maybe it was meant that way. I said this to myself while watching the thing when they were praising this thing, not praising it, but they were talking good stuff about Inferno. And I said to myself, no, because they said they liked the twist. I'm like, what? The twist made no sense. Yes, it was that James Remar was the killer, but then it switched to Pinhead. And they were going on and on about the three films. Like, they were going on talking about, they didn't do Deader because of certain things, but, that's not even the right one. They're going on talking about Inferno and then Hellseeker, and talking about how they put Kirsty back in and how she got her redemption. I'm like, it wasn't Kirsty. Not really. They took wife character, made her Kirsty, and added some stuff from Hellraiser in there. And that's when I start to realize, maybe they don't know. They didn't answer my question, but I typed it in the chat. I said, you guys do realize that Inferno, Hellseeker, and Deader weren't originally Hellraiser scripts. And whatever Hellraiser stuff was in it was forced in. I just don't get why they like Inferno over some of the other ones. I just don't. And they were bashing Hellworld, which is one of my favorites, of course. Now, you're thinking, wait a minute, we still title of this video. Where are you going at with this? It's been 5 minutes. You be talking about bashing. Well, as much as I love the Chucky franchise, which I've already done a ranking on, you should go watch that. And as much as See the Chucky is shit, it's enjoyable shit. Where Hellraiser Inferno, no. And this got me thinking, wait a minute. Did I do a ranking for Hellraiser? And I was searching my video library, and nope, I did not. So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to stop. I'm going to take a drink of my great Kiki start here. And we're going to rank all 10 Hellraiser films from worst to the best. Ready? And number 10. Do I even have to say it? Hellraiser Inferno. I don't even know if I need to say anything because I've said so much. But this movie is shit. It is the definition of shit. If you look up shit in the dictionary, picture of Detective Joseph Thorne next to James Remar and Hellraiser and Pinhead, and they're smiling, going, "We shit." It's shit. It's terrible. I don't get why people like this one. For me, it's the reason why they shouldn't. Out of the ones that they shoved Hellraiser into, it's the worst one. Because they decided to take whatever Hellraiser stuff and make it supernatural horror, but they didn't change enough of the original script to make it work. They just said, oh, it's in his head. And then the twist at the end, oh, he's already dead, he's already in hell. And James Remar is the killer, but he's in hell, and it doesn't make any sense. If it was just if this movie came out as a different movie, and it was called something else, just Inferno, and it was a crime-based thriller, I think it would be okay. I wouldn't like the character of Joseph Thorne, but if they kept the original script and just made it into a movie, Miramax, whatever, Dimension presents Inferno, starring, the fuck's his name? They also confused him with David Boreanaz, which kind of miffed me off, but anyway, Craig Sheffer, that's right. Like, he ain't no angel. I like the actor, don't get me wrong, but this, no. It's just, that out of the three that they shoved the Hellraiser stuff into, it didn't work. Just saying. Okay, number 9 is Hellraiser Revelations. Well, we got from shit bomb to shit bomb. Well. I wouldn't call this a shit bomb. It's shit, but excuse me, by the way. For me though, at least they were trying to make an actual Hellraiser film, because it had the Hellraiser elements in there, but it was cheaply made. They did it to keep the copyright, and it just, it's shit. And speaking of making things to keep the copyright, 8 is Hellraiser Judgment. That's Revelations. Should put that on. Hellraiser Judgment. Now, this one was a little bit better than Revelations, but it was just too much gross out horror, and it's obvious that they did this to keep the copyright still, because ever since, there's been talking about this one coming out and everything, and ever since then, there's no talk of a sequel, there's no talk of a continuation. It ended on a cliffhanger. There's nothing. It's just like, maybe they said, oh, it's going to end with him as a human, so maybe they won't, maybe that'll be it for a while, and they won't say, hey, let's do a sequel. And once again, you follow a character that's unlikable, and the characters you do like get killed. It just, no. Number 7 is Hellraiser Hell Seeker. They said Hair Seeker in the chat and the thing, but Hellseeker. Once again, you follow a character you can't root for because he's an asshole. They shoved Kirsty in there, and like I said, she's basically just wife character, and they named her Kirsty, and they brought in the actress. It's nothing special. Kirsty is un-Kirsty-like. There's no way she would make any deal with Pinhead unless it was just, and killing her husband is not a just cause to join forces with Pinhead. I'm sorry, it's not. It just doesn't work. Keep this up because number 6 is Hellraiser Deader, which is funny because it's the 6th one. No, it's not. It's the 7th. I'm stupid. Out of the 3 that they shoved the Hellraiser stuff into, I think this one works the most. There's some psychological horror in there, but I think it works. What I didn't really care for is that she's going around, doing this whole thing. She's seeing things, and all of a sudden she wakes up back in Winter's lair. And it's like everything that's happened over the last 45 minutes didn't really happen. So, yeah, I think Kari Vorder is a great actress. She's actually sympathetic because she wasn't a bitch or an asshole or anything. She was great. But yeah, some people might disagree with me on this one, but for me, number 5, it's in the top 5, is Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Because while it is good, and you get to go to hell, you got some characters, you got Chenard, you got the puzzle lady who I don't remember. For me, the continuity errors weighed this down for me, as the fucking house in the first one was destroyed. And everyone since then seems to ignore that fact, just to keep the continuity in. Kirsty's in there, and she's kick-ass as usual, and Pinhead is great. But the whole plot and this Leviathan configuration, it wasn't mentioned before, and Julia being a villain, she's supposed to continue, but thank God people said, hey, Pinhead's better. And someone in the chat, in the Wham stream, actually said, Pinhead's not the villain. Okay. He works for hell. Villain, right? Right. So, yeah, just wasn't my cup of tea, or my kicky start, as I should say. Wasn't my can of kickstart, but yeah. Number 4 is Hellraiser 3: Hell on Earth. I kind of enjoy this one more than the second one because it's campy. It's a campy horror film. When Hellraiser starts showing up, or when Pinhead shows up on Earth, and everything starts happening as the fire, it's cheesy. It's campy horror. I love campy horror, and it's great. What's her name? Joey? The actress who plays Joey. Terry Farrell. She's great. I like Paula Marshall. She's great. Even the actor, Kevin Bernhardt, who plays JP, he's an ass, but he's good at playing the character. What was it? Pretend this is a cigarette, right? He's good at playing the character. He's great at it. But he's not, compare him to Thorn from Inferno. He's not our main protagonist. You're not following him as the hero. That's the difference. You want to hate, it's someone you love to hate with JP. You know what I mean? Just, cast is great. Maybe some of the Cenobites aren't as good, and that's why it weighs it down. But Pinhead is corny, and it's great. You get some more backstory with it. It's great. Put this back up again, because number 3 is Hellraiser Bloodline. I think that the story in this had the studio not fucked with it, and we've see it actually go through fluidly from time to time, and not had to constantly jump back and not have to put together piece by piece here and actually do what the original director wanted, Joe Chappelle, I think his name was, wanted to do. I think it would have worked better, but as it stands, it's still a decent Hellraiser film. With that sci-fi kind of angle to it, and it was supposed to be the last Hellraiser, which to me, in continuity, it kind of is, because it takes place way in the future, but yeah, it's just, yeah, and you could say, oh, what about the puzzle boxes? Well, Hellraiser Judgment shows you there are more than one puzzle box out there. How they got created, I don't know, but who knows? Pick it back up again, because number 2 is Hellraiser Hellworld. I was back and forth on this. Should I put this number 1 because I enjoy this a lot, or should I put number 2? And you know what? I just can't put this above the original, so it's number 2 for me. I enjoy the cast. I enjoy the idea. Lance Henriksen is a fucking blast in this movie. Yes, you know, them being buried for almost the whole time doesn't make any sense, but at least they worked. You know, it wasn't a spec script. It was an original work that it still wasn't a Hellraiser movie, but I think it's based on another book, I think, or something. And I think when they had Hellraiser things in there, it works. Like I said, Dinner was the best of the spec scripts. They got the Hellraiser stuff shoved in. That worked the best. But here, I think it works all right. But the twist at the end that they're buried and they've been hallucinating, even if they weren't buried, where like Henriksen had them chained up or something, and they were being tortured or whatever, and they were hallucinating some stuff. Because how do you have sex while you're hallucinating? How does it work? Because like Mike got a blowjob, but how? And then Derek was banging out with someone, but then I forgot his name. Christopher Jacob's character. Is it Jake? No. It was Jake. Jake had sex with a nun, but how? And you're supposed to think that this was all caused by my suggestion from Lance Henriksen. I don't think so. But yeah, it's one of those. It's in the same vein of like Scream, and I know what you did last summer, where it's very, it's that self-aware type of horror movie, and I like those. So number 2, but number 1, of course, is the OG, the original Hellraiser. Can't beat it. It's got great characters. It's got a great atmosphere. Great characters except for Julia. I even like Frank because he's the villain. He's one of the villains you love to hate. You know what I mean? And, you know, when you go into this franchise and you think that this guy is the main bad guy, he is a bad guy, but he's not the main bad guy. In most films, think about it. So, in this one, Julia and Frank are the villains. Second one, it's Julia and Chenard. In the third film, it's JP until, you know, Pinhead. I think that's the one where Pinhead's mostly the villain. In the fourth film, it's Angelique until Pinhead takes over at the end. In Inferno, it's, well, yeah, Pinhead. Or whatever the fuck. In Hellseeker, it's basically Kirsty, which doesn't make any sense. But, you know. And Deader, it's Winter. You know. And in Hellworld, it's the host. Revelations, it's Nico / Steven, Stico, whatever. And in Judgment, it's Damon Carney's character. So, you know, you never have Hellraiser. Call him that. Pinhead's never the straight up villain, but he is a villain. But yeah, the original Hellraiser is the best in the franchise. And that's why he gets number 1. So what are your thoughts on the Hellraiser franchise? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one.